Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here, back with more game collecting madness. This is part 3 of the PlayStation 2 collection, so let's jump right into it here. We've got, starting off, Katamari Damacy. You don't win an award for being the weirder game. Like, this is the weirdest game ever conceived by man. One of the most entertaining games conceived by man. I've spent so many hours on this game that it's crazy. But you got to keep rolling stuff up into a ball and turning it into stars. I mean, you need more stars. But just completely twisted game. The soundtrack will get stuck in your head for weeks, but well worth playing. Next up, we've got Kingdom Hearts. I'm currently doing a Let's Play of this. Like as I'm speaking, I'm still working on this project. So check that out. One of my favorite games of all time. I love it. I will never have anything bad to say about this game, ever. There are moments in the game that frustrate me to no end, but good games should be able to do that to you, and you'll still walk away feeling satisfied, and I love that game. We've got Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. I haven't played Rechain. I have played Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance, but I got this one mostly because I had no choice. Because as much as I love this game, my wife loves it more. So she hasn't played Rechain either, but she saw that it was coming out, had to get it. And then we've got Kingdom Hearts 2. We had so much fun. Kingdom Hearts as a franchise is such a big part of both of our gaming persona that when this actually came out, both of us took 2 days off of work so we could just burn through the game together and play it. So yeah, and I will be doing a Let's Play of Rechain and of Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. For those of you who have a PS3, the first two games, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Rechain, are coming out as the 1.5 HD collection. It'll be out fall of 2013, so go get it. Fantastic games. I can't say anything but good things about them. I could talk about them for days, so. But we're not. We're going to move on. Next, we've got Puella Tactics. Again, it's another tactics game. This one looks really cute because it's got all these weird little creatures on the back. I don't know. I saw this one when I was working at GameStop, and one of my coworkers told me, if you like tactics games, you have to get this. And then he bought the last copy. So I managed to track a copy down, obviously, but I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. But it looks... turn vicious enemies into faithful allies. I almost said that turn them into faithful fruit. So, yeah. I don't know. It's a tactics game. I had to go for it. Next up we have The Legend of Spyro, The Eternal Night. Again, this is the wife-loving Spyro titles. And this is actually before Spyro started getting kind of bad. This is it was on the way down the hill, but it was still high enough on the hill that it was worth playing. Not as good as the original trilogy, but I think at this point it was taken over by... I mean, Spyro started off at Insomniac, and then it's moved to like a half a dozen different developers. This one was done by Sierra. So, next up we've got Magna Carta, the deluxe box set. I actually bought this as separate pieces. I bought the game for dirt cheap, and then I was able, on BRE Software, they had all of the components for the big box set separately. And so I had a coupon for them, so I'm like, sure, I'm going to buy that so that I have the big box set. It takes up a little more space than I was expecting it to on my shelf, which kind of cut out a game, I'll get to that in a minute, that was going to be on my wish list, but I could either have the big box set of this or that game, so with a big box set of this. You can make your own decision on whether or not that was the good choice. Really interesting RPG. The art style, however, is very, very adult. There's lots of skin-tight clothing that accentuate various anatomical pieces, like nipples and other things. So it's very adult in style, but it's an Atlas game, so, I mean, they're kind of weird when it comes to that. Next up, Mekhi Kingdom. This is the one where the overload your face comes from. because he says he's going to overload your face off. It's an interesting tactical strategy type game done by NIS. Again, in the kind of same Disgaea weirdness. So, and very similar art style. It looks like Disgaea without the Disgaea. So, next up we've got this Magna Carta, Alchemist of Revis. Again, it's a Nippon Ichi software game. This one is a turn-based RPG, not a tactical. And one of the characters seems to kill people with the giant pink teddy bear of death. So I got that one, and then I got this one, Magna Carta 2, and I actually bought this one brand new off the Nippon Ichi site. This is the box it came in. This is the big box that has a poster, let's see, the game, Alchemist soundtrack, large double-sided poster, 32-page art book, including calendar. So, I mean, like, and this box is so big it does not fit on my game shelf. So I actually have to keep it on the shelf directly behind me. You've probably seen it when I twist out of the way. It's there. But I wanted to show that off because I was able to buy that brand new from Nippon Ichi before they ran out. So I have both of the big box, and this is what I keep on the shelf because those just look nice. So next up we've got Maximo Ghosts to Glory and Maximo versus the Army of Zen. These are 3D platform remakes, or spiritual successors, I should say, of the Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins, Goblins and Ghosts and Ghouls series. And I've already mentioned in a previous video how much I loved those games regardless of how difficult they are. This one's not as difficult, but it's close. But it is really fun as a 3D platformer. So I picked both of those up because I had to. Next up, Mega Man X Collection. This is Mega Man X 1 through 6, and then Mega Man Kart Racing. It has 7 games, so X 1 through 6, and then Mega Man Racing. So that's all that's on it. And then Mega Man X8. I've skipped over X7 because X7 is an abomination of a game. And if I could have gotten rid of X6 on this game, I would have, but I can't control what's on the disc. But yeah, this is typically how I play the X Collection, because if I ever want to go back and replay it. But then you've got X8, which is... So, I'll talk about X7 and why I have X8 over it. X7 was a 3D platformer, very poorly done 3D platformer, and with games like Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, that show how 3D platforming can really be done, and Capcom really took nothing from any of those games, and they tried to build their own, and it flopped. It was just so difficult, so frustrating, that it was terrible. X8 keeps the same 3D art style, but it's still just a 2D game. It is a 2D side-scroller, just done with 3D characters. So it looks gorgeous, but it's not as painfully difficult for no reason other than just poor mechanics. And next up, I've got 3 games in one. The Metal Gear Solid Essential Collection. This is Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3. It's just the base versions of them, which I'll show that off. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 had re-releases called Substance, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, Metal Gear Solid 3 Substance, that had a little bit more stuff to it. But as far as just getting the essential Metal Gear Solid story, these were all you needed, and they were released as a box set. Metal Gear Solid is actually a PS1 title, but since it's a box set for the PS2, I store it with the PS2 games. Plus, it has a PS2 size case, but the art style for the thing, it just says PlayStation as opposed to PS2. So I thought that was kind of cool that they did that and made a kind of a special case for it. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid, can't go wrong with that. A minute ago I talked about Magna Carta, the big box cutting out one of the games that I wanted. It was Midway Treasures Arcade Volume 1. I have Volume 2, which has all of the more modern arcade titles, Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, Gauntlet 2, Spy Hunter 2, Zybots Narc, APB, Cyberball 2072, Timber, Total Carnage, Pit Fighter, Wizard of War, Xenophobe, Primal Rage, Arch Rivals, Rampage World Tour, Cosmic Cruiser, Championship Sprint, Hard Drive, and Wacko. The original Midway Arcade Treasures is a lot of the Atari age, like Joust. Joust was really the only game that I really wanted on it, which is why I was fine cutting it out. There are a couple other ones, but they're the 80s style arcade games, so while I would have loved to have them on a compilation, again, Magna Carta, but this one I wanted mostly for Rampage and the Mortal Kombats, even though I have Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PS1. I figured having the arcade collection, plus, you know, a couple more games on it. Gauntlet 2, I love the Gauntlet games, at least the old school. I don't really like as much of the 3D, like Dark Legacy and that sort of thing. Next up we have Odin Sphere. This is a Vanillaware title done by Atlas. Norse mythology to the nth degree. It's gorgeous side-scrolling action RPG. I don't really have anything bad to say about this. It's a hugely in-depth game, but it's so much fun. Following the Muramasa Princess Crown style. It went Princess Crown, this Muramasa in terms of release, but yeah, this game is just gorgeous. Because everything is like hand-drawn 2D. Just looks amazing. Speaking of looking amazing, Okami. This game is my go-to game if anyone ever brings up the argument that video games are not art. This would like to have a word with you. The graphic style of the game is gorgeous. The story to the game follows Japanese folklore. Just everything about this game looks and feels like just a painting, a moving painting. If you look at old school Japanese paintings, this follows that style to a T. It just looks like one of those just came to life and started moving. That is how gorgeous this game is. The story is amazing. It's really, really well done. It can be really long or it can be really short depending on how you go through it and what you want to do in the game, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do. But just gorgeous game. So much fun with it. Next up, I've got another trilogy. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. Prince of Persia, Warrior Within. Prince of Persia, Two Thrones. I remember playing the original Prince of Persia on Commodore 64, I think it was, and then on the SNES. And its art style was amazing. This one, the art style one didn't blow you away as much, but the gameplay mechanics, the being able to free run on walls, and just how the game looked in terms of how you were playing it. Not necessarily its art style, because the art style for the original game was actually motion capture turned into kind of a hand-drawn style. This is just how the games play. I will admit the game started getting a little convoluted as the series went on. The Dagger of Time mechanic started off really good, and then the Dark Prince mechanic started getting a little out there. But still, fantastic games if you have a PS2. I think they are part of an HD collection as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I want to say they are. But at the very least, you have to do yourself a favor and play the first one, even if you don't continue on with the others. But fantastic series. So yeah, that's all for this part. I will see you in the next installment of my PS2 collection. Till then, later everyone.